Okay, we'll go ahead and call tonight's meeting of the Planning Commission to order. And I guess first we'll start with the call to order and we'll do the pledge. Then we'll take roll. You'll join me in the pledge. The flag's over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chair Wolf.
Here.
Vice Chair List.
Here.
Member Lowry.
Here.
Member Roby.
Here.
Member Friend.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar, which includes the agenda for tonight's meeting and the minutes of our meeting of February 16th.
Staff has a comment based on Member Friend's absence. The items 5.1 and 5.2 cannot be heard due to the bylaw restriction requiring that all 5 members be present to amend the bylaws or conduct elections of officers. So we will carry that over to the next agendized meeting.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a motion for approval of the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on to, do we have any oral communications for the commission tonight? Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the point where we're in the meeting tonight for the folks that are in attendance, where we invite anybody who wishes to speak to the Planning Commission on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. We can't take any action on things that haven't been previously agendized. So this is just kind of free shot time. If anybody would like to speak to the commission. Not seeing anybody rushing up. We'll move on. Do we have any written communications?
The staff provided you with a packet of items relative to the recent changes and adoption by City Council as to the general plan, housing element, land use section, zoning ordinance amendments that recently came before you, in which you provided recommendations on to City Council. So please update your books at home, or if you brought them to the meeting tonight, that's the purpose of it. And we will reuse those envelopes if you feel, if you have not used them to their fullest extent, we can use them again.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the public hearing portion of tonight's meeting, and we'll start with item 4 regarding 99 Placerville Drive, site plan review 82-05-R. It's a request by United Sign Systems on behalf of the property owner to re-image the existing convenience store with gas pumps from a Velcro brand to a Chevron brand, including site signs, paint, landscaping, and irrigation, and a major change to their original site plan review. So I guess we'll proceed with a staff report to start.
Yeah, the site contains an existing convenience store with gas pumps, pump canopy, parking area that was approved under a conditional use permit and site plan review back in 1982. This approval in the 1980s included a landscape plan with for landscaping to be planted within the planter island along Placerville Drive between the 2 driveway entrance and exits. In March of 2011, the Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit on this site that authorized the operation of a small recycling collection kiosk. That conditional use continues to exist on the site within the existing shed, which is kind of in the northwest corner of the site. The site is as well as other parcels along Placerville Drive, with the exception of the El Dorado County Fairgrounds, is zoned and land use designated for commercial purposes. Uses in the site vicinity include other automobile-related uses, such as a new and used automobile dealerships, auto service uses, another convenience store with gas pumps, the Shell station, along with floor covering and window repair and sales uses, including a brewery, restaurant, and grocery store. The purpose and intent of the commercial general plan land use and zoning classifications is to provide uses that serve the residents, businesses, and visitors of the city and surrounding county. The request tonight would re-image the convenience store, as you described in your intro, Chair Wolf, from a Valero branded center to a Chevron branded center. Changes include the removal of all existing Valero signage, the placing of new signs on the convenience store building, the pump dispensers and pump canopy. The existing pole sign structure would be recladded, and a redwood planter base would be added. The repainting of the convenience store would also be completed, along with the rehabilitation of site landscaping along Placerville Drive. These improvements are considered a major change under site plan review code section, and therefore this would be a major change to site plan review 82-05. A major change requires planning commission approval. Proposed signs, paint colors, landscape details, etc. were provided as attachment A of staff's report and are also placed on the wall behind you. The site's convenience store and pump canopy have a total business frontage of 52 lineal feet. Per the city sign regulations, the maximum aggregate sign area for a site with that lineal foot distance is calculated at a rate of 2 square feet of sign area for each 1 lineal foot of business frontage. Therefore, the maximum amount of sign area under our sign regulations for this site with this business frontage of 52 lineal feet would be 104 square feet. Once again, 2 square feet for each 1 lineal foot. Proposed signage of the wall, canopy, and pole signage is a little under 150 square feet, 148.6. Although the proposed sign area exceeds the maximum aggregate area under city code regulations by nearly 45 feet, the proposed sign area is nearly 39% of the previous 282.4 square feet that was authorized for this site in the past. Also, approximately 35.5 square feet of proposed signage involves the state-required display of fuel pricing. Staff finds that the proposed signs are simple and in good proportion to be visible and read by the vehicle traveler. They appear well related to each other through color and to font. Each request meets requirements for having an opaque background, so each sign has an opaque background meeting city code requirements. The sign area proposed meets the business needs of the property owner, the business owner, and the corporate needs of the Chevron business. The convenience store and gas pumps is a use that serves the residents, businesses, and visitors of the city and county. Therefore, it is consistent with the purpose and intent of the commercial general plan land use and zoning classification. Staff's opinion is that these findings can be made by the commission in support of granting authority to the applicant and the property owner to place sign area at this 99 Placerville Drive location, which, as I mentioned, is in excess of the aggregate sign area maximum under the sign regulations. Another component of the request is to revise the approved landscaping and irrigation plans from the 1982 approval and to reestablish landscaping and irrigation for the site. Approval in 82 included a landscape planting plan involving really 2 species of plants, English ivy and Chinese juniper. These were to be placed in the raised curb area between the 2 encroachments to the site, as well as a small area below the existing pole sign. Due to there was one other location where planting was to occur from 1982. There was a planter island proposed adjacent to and near the front door of the convenience store, but due to accessibility requirements and parking for that clientele, that planting area was removed. And as you see now, if you've been out to the site, there is no landscape planter out in front of the building. The current property owner was not the owner back in 1982. Staff did suggest to the applicant and their agent to address the lack of site landscaping and irrigation by submitting new landscape and irrigation plans along with this re-image request. The new plans were provided with the request. They were prepared by a registered landscape architect per requirements under the city's zoning ordinance. Planting includes drought and water efficient species such as manzanita, dwarf bottlebrush, crepe myrtle. These species would provide visual interest throughout the year, both enhancing the transition between Placerville Drive and the on-site business. Proposed plants and tree species along with the automatic irrigation system meet the city's water efficiency standards and regulations. Staff therefore recommends approval of the landscaping and irrigation plan proposed. Staff's report also includes a list of the 11 conditions of record for the conditional use permit and site plan review for the site, and these are listed on page 6. Conditions 1, 2, 4, and 7 should be retained for ongoing operation of the convenience store and gas station use. These, along with the new standard conditions and a condition requiring the recordation of a landscape maintenance agreement, have been added. The recommended retained conditions and new conditions have resulted in the renumbering of the overall conditions for this request, and these begin on page 7 and continue to page 9 in staff's report. Staff recommends that this project be found categorically exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to sections 15304 and 15311 of the CEQA guidelines, in that it involves minor private alterations in the condition of vegetation through the replacement of landscaping with water-efficient landscaping, and that the request includes the replacement of accessory commercial on-premise signs. Public notice was provided for this request. It was published in the Mountain Democrat. Written notice was mailed to property owners within 500 feet of the site. Notice was also posted at the Development Services Department counter and on the City of Placerville's Facebook page and city website. To date, no comments have been received. Staff recommends the Commission make the findings on page 7 and conditionally approve the request as indicated in staff's report. I see that the property owner's agent is in the building, and Mr. Campbell. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you. I have a quick question. On page 6, there's 11 items under CUP 8203. Are those all, would those all legitimately be part of the conditions of approval? Should this be approved?
Those were brought forward because those are the conditions of record before this request tonight. The conditions that staff has prepared for you for your adoption cause, in staff's opinion, that some of these should be removed and others be retained.
Okay.
Some of them are, in staff's opinion, should be retained, which conditions 1, 2, 4, and 7, because in staff's opinion, that those should be retained for the ongoing operation of the site. The others have either been met during construction or through other operation procedures of site development.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions of staff before we open it up to the applicant? Okay, this is, we'll open the public hearing on the item and invite the owner or owner's agents to address the commission.
Hi, I'm Brian Campbell. I'm here on behalf of Raj Singh, who was planning on being here tonight, but he couldn't. He had to stay at the office at the site and run the business as one of his workers was out sick. So, you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I have a quick question on the landscape plan. I understand what's going on the street side. There was a planter that was indicated to be constructed underneath the revised pole sign. Is there anything that's going to go in that planter, or is it just going to be volcanic rock? Is there what's going to go in that planter? The 2-foot the planter around that pole sign.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I don't know if that was indicated on the landscape plan or not. But if it's not, it'll probably be just some annuals, seasonal potted plants.
Yeah, I looked at here, I didn't see the pole sign indicated because it's on the landscape design, but I didn't see that landscape indicated as well.
For that other planter, I just ask that you consider drought tolerant or low water use plants for that
Yes.
location.
Okay, but just to make sure I'm clear and everyone else is clear, the sign, the pole sign, I'm struggling to find it on the landscaping plan. Am I missing it? That's what I thought. It's in that corner over there, so it's not on here.
It's on the site plan for the sign drawings.
Yeah. Let us shuffle papers for a minute.
If you look on the second page of the signage, on the far left, we see a drawing with dimensions, and it indicates that the tall portion of the sign is 8 inches thick, and the base is made out of redwood, and it is also 8 inches thick and 24 inches tall, which really doesn't, well, you got a sign growing out of a planter. So I'm a little confused on that.
I think
It's
the
more of a-
planter was supposed to be 24 inches wide. Yeah, I think that's what it called out on the drawing, by 24 inches tall.
It's not on the drawing that way. Again. Sir? Looking here, there's no indication of the size of the planter other than the outline of the top view.
Yeah, I think the planter was supposed to be 24 inches wide by the length of the sign, by 8 foot.
And there's no landscaping going on in that?
Yes, there is gonna be some annual plants and stuff around the sign cladding.
And on the irrigation plan, is that indicated that it's gonna receive some liquid?
I don't think that was included in the landscape plan. I think he's gonna hand water the plants inside that planter.
You mean the owner?
Yeah, Raj Singh, the owner.
Yeah, I was looking at the illustration on this document here, and I've done some contracting in my time, and I know the most important words and symbols on a signal flow diagram can be by others. So is the owner going to be the other who's going to install and maintain this redwood planter? Is
Yes,
that
the
what it
owner's
is?
the owner's gonna supply the planter, the redwood planter, and he's gonna upkeep the plants and the.
Okay, so that's the responsibility of the business owner. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at the plans, and I know you're kind of at a disadvantage because you don't have them there, but I think probably the biggest problem is it's not really a planter. It's just a little wood box at the base of this sign, because there's no room indicated for, the width to have any plants. It's not on the landscaping plan. It's not, excuse me, it's not included in the irrigation plan. So that's not necessarily bad, it's just a little confusing on what we're approving here. And I think the hang up is on the use of the word planter, because I think this is just intended to be some trim, but I'm not supposed to have to guess.
And
So that's what we're struggling with. a
Yeah,
little
and
bit.
this planter or box trim was asked by the staff to include something around the base of that sign, so that's
Sure.
why we included it. But the guy that did the landscape plan wasn't aware of the planter around the sign, so, I mean, if we need to, we can we can add some plants in there, whatever's, you know, to the staff's direction, whatever they would like to see in there.
Could-
My only concern on that is that we have, on the plan, it does show that there is water in that corner, a valve and water in that corner. And I would really like to see that on some kind of a, you know, a metered system instead of somebody running out there with a hose when they think about it. I think that's a little bit antiquated.
Well, but we're talking about something that's not on the plans in terms of the planters.
That's true.
Okay, any other questions for,
looking at this, maybe, I think, was it staff's thought that providing this, I'm going to call it redwood base trim, to provide some visual interest and a little more better transition from grade up the pylon sign. I guess what I'm saying is are we hard over on it being a planter, or could it be a trim piece without any plants in it?
Yeah, fair question. The sign code, the intent by staff was to help bring this existing pylon sign, pole sign, as we call it in our code section, into more in conformance with what we would require today of a new pole sign, which requires a decorative base. Does that decorative base this gets to your question, does that decorative base, must it have plant life within it? Must it be a planter? No, the code section does not describe that. The planter would certainly help enhance if plant life was placed there. But no, to answer your question, the code section does not specify that the decorative base be a planter. So it could be just a decorative element, if that sounds to be really your question.
Yeah, right. That was my question. Thank you.
anything else for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
All right.
Anyone else wish to speak on this item tonight? All right, thank you. We'll close the public hearing, bring it back, thank you. Bring it back to the commission for discussion and action. Anybody want to go first?
Sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'll pick up where I left off with my question. So, given the level of additional work to get plants in there, which aren't a deal breaker level of requirement, we don't have to have plants for this pole sign, but we do have to have some sort of visual enhancement where we transition from grade to the vertical portion of the sign. So I'll just go on record as saying, you know, I could live with this redwood trim box being just that without any plantings inside of it.
Yeah, you can call it whatever you want. It has to look like this. Anyone else? All right, I'll make a motion then that we find that the proposed modification to the pole sign, pump island, canopy, convenience store, landscaping, and irrigation are appropriate for the site and Placerville Drive area, and we conditionally approve the request, including the findings listed on page 7, 8, and 9 of the staff report, and condition of approval items on page 6, numbers 1, 2, 4, and 7, and those are on page 6 of the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion? Take a roll call vote, please.
Chair Wolf,
Aye.
Member Roby,
Aye.
Vice Chair List,
Aye.
Member Lowry.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to new business. And we're going to skip items 5.1 and 5.2 because we don't have full commission here tonight. So we move on to matters from commissioners and staff. Anything from commissioners and staff, please? Thank you.
Yeah, tonight in your packet is a possibility, an opportunity for you all as a planning commissioners to attend a training workshop. It is very cost effective from the city's perspective. We would encourage all of you to go. It is on a Saturday. It's down in West Sacramento. Based on what I'm reading on the advert, that they do have perhaps some limited space, perhaps dealing with the fact that the registration includes breakfast and lunch. So the cost the city would pick up, as well as mileage. But if a group of you want to go, we'd encourage you to carpool down there. Yeah, I think both Director Rivas and I both agree that the APA, the California APA, they do put on, they provide good speakers, and you will also get an opportunity to network with other planning commissioners and other people of your like kind. So you could commiserate, so to speak, on issues or whatnot. But you can't talk about specific projects as a group when you're down there, though, relative to the city, because that might be a Brown Act violation. But you could speak in generalities. So staff would encourage you to attend. If you can let us know soon so that we can move forward with getting your registration down there.
Sign me up, please. Thank you.
Actually, I will just let you know I will not be able to attend. I read the flyer and I got all excited, and I checked my schedule with my schedule maker, and I was informed that I had a previous commitment on that day that I was in no way, shape, or form able to get out of. So I respectfully.
So that's what she
Yes.
told you, huh?
Yes.
That sounds like a kitchen pass.
Yeah, and Andrew, I'll have to check my schedule, but I think I can go, and I'd like to go. I always like telling the story. One time when I went to one of these, I was really impressed because like the planning commissioners for Los Angeles were there, and they had like limos and entourages and all of that. And I was wearing my plaid shirt, it was typical.
Upholding the image of
Yeah.
Colorado County.
Yeah, it was me and Commissioner Russell were the hillbillies that day. Anything else from staff?
Director Rivas has an
Sure.
update for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to update the commission on the Main Street Rehabilitation Project. Basically, we're looking at, the project is going to begin on April the 3rd. And that's a Sunday. It'll start in the evening. This will be primarily an evening job. The work will be commenced during the night, with the exception of Stagecoach Alley, which they propose on doing the work during the day for various reasons, for safety and different considerations. But the project is basically will be on Main Street between Sacramento and Bedford Avenue. It will include all of Center Street between Main Street and Highway 50, and all of Stagecoach Alley between Center Street and Main Street. Of course, this will be repaving and doing the bulb outs and the decorative work within those areas. But we're all fairly excited to get this project finally done. Again, April 3rd, Sunday evening, will be the construction work will begin. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody?
No, all I see anymore when I drive around now is pavement condition. I noticed driving back from Citrus Heights yesterday, you can see the potholes have popped up like toadstools after this rain. Not just here, but everywhere.
All right.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one more item. For those of you that would be attending the APA conference for planning commissioners, as far as our statement that you can't talk about any projects that are within the city, any past projects that are already approved and some question comes up or some issue comes up and you want to talk about a particular case, you can't do that. If it's a past project and you say, well, how did we handle this?
Right.
Yeah, but any pending project and stuff, you wouldn't want to discuss it. For clarification, thank you.
Thank you. Wouldn't want to step on that landmine. Okay. Anything else? Then I guess I'm gonna assume that by consensus, we're adjourned.